Okay, finally getting around to throwing the rear Bilstein shocks on my first gen S10, but these fit first and second gen. But not a whole lot to report here. When I did the fronts, there was fitment issues and they were a lot beefier. And if you haven't seen that video yet, you can go ahead and look at that. But these are pretty straightforward. I just got done putting my driver's side in, and I mean, they're almost an exact fit. As a matter of fact, boy, I think these black ones are Gabriel's, but I can't remember. They're old. Um, the Bilsteins might actually be a tad narrower. As far as the mounting flange, you know, the fronts are like double this thickness. It's like the same. Length's about the same too, with the exception of mine's. You could tell it's leaking here, so I adjust it to wherever. Whereas that one, you know, I'll tell you what, compared to all the rear shocks I've ever put in, these take a good amount of muscle to put them in. You know, that doesn't come with directions, but traditionally it was always purge them. You know, push them in and out 3 or 4 times. But these take some muscle. But that kind of gives you an idea. I got a size 8 ring finger, so you can kind of get an idea of the diameter. But I was going to mic it out, but my battery's dead. And honestly, I don't see a big enough difference to do that. If you ever really need to know that, leave it in the comment box and I'll get it and I'll go ahead and mic it. And you know, as a matter of fact, check in the the crotch box. I'll throw it in there. I'll eventually mic it for you. Not super important though, but that's what I was worried about. Otherwise, it doesn't come with directions. You get the Bilstein sticker, and that's it. And in the one I already put on, I got a sticker and a zip tie because my zip tie had already fallen off. So I got to add a zip tie on my other one. But real straightforward. So, I mean, I could tell just from pushing them in better than anything I've ever used. And, you know, I've used, God, Monroe, Gabriel, AC Delcos, which is just some rebadged China shit. But, yeah, I feel it. You know, up until I did my fronts, first time I've ever gone with premium struts. And, I mean, you do feel it, at least when you purge them. So we'll see how the drive is. Because I just got done putting on the half-ton springs, and that already gave me quite a bit of lift, you know, and that's a 28-inch tire. I'll show you the box. Fortunately, these are always, you know, they're not sealed. So I got mine off a dude on eBay. It was even cheaper than Rock Auto, which lately I've been having a lot of bad luck with eBay. It seems like every time you go with the cheapest bidder, you're either getting a fucking Amazon return or something somebody dented or fucked up. But I mean, I checked mine over and, you know, they were all clean and good, except for that one zip tie, but it didn't look like it was tampered with. It was probably just half-assed done at the factory. But I think I already posted this earlier, but I'll show it again. There's your part number. But I guess I just got to see how it drives. So I'll put in the crotch box if I'm happy with them or not. But otherwise, again, I got a video on the fronts. So if you know you're interested in shocks for your first or second generation S10, Bilstein's not a bad option. Let me go ahead and show you underneath. I don't even have to jack it up. I'm lifted so high. Some of you guys that, you know, got the slam dam, thank you, ma'am, and, you know, whether you're doing that for aerodynamics or you're going for the Ebonics look with the 22-inch rim or whatever you're doing, you guys probably will have to jack it up, but let me get my light positioned here. Real straightforward, especially if you're working on a Southern truck. I mean, it's literally a 5-minute job. I'm not even kidding. Probably takes longer to slather up the threads, which I always recommend, you know. Clean the threads and slather them. But this is a Southern truck. It's always been. And as you can see, it's just too clean for its good. So if you're in the north, that's going to be probably a lot more of a headache. I did have to drop my spare tire, but it's real easy to get to. If by any chance you want some cheater tips, you're looking at 13 millimeter. Well, half fits, but it really fits snug. Granted, on a fresh bolt, maybe half would be perfect. 13 was my sweet spot. You're not going to round it out, and you're going to have a lot more articulation. Well, I shouldn't say a lot more. You'll just have to feel it out. But for your tops, you basically want to take a 13 millimeter angled wrench, and you want to come in like that. And either hold it in place or guide it, you know, until it spins, you know, and then it hits something and it wedges itself in. Now for the other side, you got to come from the other angle. Let me see if I can get the angle here. Okay, see how I'm kind of coming? And I got my arm out on like the tire side. You're basically, there we go. You're just going to come in like that. Pretty straightforward, okay? Then on the bottoms, this front one's not too hard to get. And you could probably use a regular 13 millimeter shorty. As far as the back one, you don't want to be too long because you're going to bottom out. But I found a 13 millimeter deep dish to be perfect. I actually loosened mine with a wrench just so I didn't break them. I always loosen any frozen bolt, you know, that way first. Wrench or breaker bar. And then once it was loosened, I went ahead and used my impact. But those are real straightforward, okay? So what I basically did, I loosened both of them first, and then I took the back one off completely, and then I left the front one on like 2 threads, okay? Then I came down to the bottom bolt, which, if I could find where I put it, right here, 21 millimeter. There you go. And that's about it. Take the 21 millimeter off. I like to use a little pry bar. This is a PT Tools one I've had for years. And you just kind of, you know, of course I'm blocking a lot of the light here. There we go. You just kind of work it off. If your strut's weak or it's blown out, it's a lot easier. And then as far as putting it back on, well, let me back up. After I pop that bottom off, go ahead and thread that out, and it comes off, okay? When you go to put it back on, I thread my front one in first, a couple of threads, got my back one a couple of threads. For me, it was a little more difficult because of how my dual exhaust is ran. I literally got about where I can just barely slide my fingers behind there, which was a big worry for me because I assumed like the fronts, the Bilsteins were going to be a lot more beefier, but they weren't. But know that, you know, your exhaust is going to make it harder because like my old ones were blown, so I was able to just push them in. This is a little bit snug, but not too bad. But you'll see, you just kind of work it around. Get both of those finger tight, then go ahead and snug them down, like basically to where it's making contact, but not as tight as you can go. And then when you come down here, that for me was the tough part. I'm 2 weeks out of a triple hernia surgery, and I'm going to tell you, pushing that in, laying on my back, did not feel good. But I put my feet against my bumper, and I mean, it took quite a bit of force, but it probably felt worse because of my surgery feeling like I was going to peel apart. I'm not supposed to be doing that shit, but I do shit, you know. I've gotten through my whole life not following rules. Trust me, it works. But at any rate, once I pushed it up and I was able to get it slid on there, it's got so much tension that it was kind of hard to get it all the way on. So what I ended up doing was I took a 15 millimeter deep socket, which fits over that stud. And then, you know, before I had the washer and the nut, I was able to pound it on like that with a hammer. And then once I got it where I wanted it, I went ahead and zipped the nut on there. So pretty straightforward. As you can see, I still got my passenger to do. But otherwise, I think that's about it. Alrighty, got the passenger in. Went ahead and added a black zip tie to the driver, since that came off in the box. But there you go. That kind of gives you an idea. Rare Bilsteins on a first gen S10. Thank you for watching. I want to give you a tip when you're putting your spare tire back in. Now, mind you, I'm in 82. Previously, I had a wing nut system that was underneath. It was a 1-year thing. 83 and up went to the bumper hole, which I actually converted because it's a much easier system to work with and it doesn't rust out. Not the same way. But at any rate, okay, you know how you crank through your bumper hole right there with the crowbar? Here's the tip. When you're putting up your spare tire, aim your fill knob right at 6 o'clock on the clock facing you, or if you're directly under it, 12 o'clock. Just a tip. Why am I throwing that out there? Because I've never seen anybody else do it. Anytime I've ever seen a spare tire like this, done it for somebody on the side of the road, whatever, you never see it there. And the reason that's nice is it just makes it a lot easier when you're doing maintenance to fill air in the tire. Because how many times have you changed somebody's tire and it's not even aired up? You know, at least once every 3 or 4 months, hit that bitch with some PSI. But I just wanted to throw that tip in there. So, thank you for watching.